quick, join us for 7:30 News Bulletin. My name is Fales Chizombe. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV concludes period of rest in Castle Gardof. Leading economic expert warns against premature economic optimism, notes of persistent challenges. And in other news, South Africa's president calls for African nationals to work together on migration. We have more stories coming up. Do stay with us. Returned to the Vatican on Monday evening after spending 23 days at the Apostolic Palace in Castel Gardof for a period of rest and prayer. Leaving Castel Gardof shortly after 8:30 p.m. on 27th July, the Holy Father greeted those gathered outside the residence and blessed several children before departing for the Vatican. We have a Vatican News report read by Patrick Pooper.
The Pope is scheduled to return to Castel Gardof on Wednesday, 29 July, to participate in Canticle of Peace, a gathering of prayer and fraternity promoted by the Laudato Si Center for Higher Education and the Andrea Bocelli Foundation. The event forms part of the celebration marking the 800th anniversary of the death of St. Francis of Assisi, and will take place in the gardens of the Pontifical Villas. During his stay in Castel Gardof, Pope Leo devoted time to prayer, reading, and recreation. He also led the Angelus on 4 Sundays from the entrance of the Apostolic Palace and took part in several pastoral engagements. On 11 July, the Holy Father shared lunch in the Pontifical Gardens with 200 people from the Diocese of Rome living in situations of social vulnerability, including 35 children. On 18 July, he attended a concert organized by the Diocese of Urbano in the courtyard of the Apostolic Palace. In the final week of his stay, Pope Leo made private visits to the Benedictine Abbey of Monte Cassino, the sanctuary of the Most Holy Trinity at Varipietra, and the monasteries of St. Benedict and St. Scholastica at Subiaco before returning to the Vatican.
Lilongwe Nyanja Member of Parliament Stephen Baba Malondela has defended his allegations over the cost of repatriating Malawians from South Africa, insisting he spoke based on facts and evidence, despite calls from the government side for him to withdraw and apologize. Speaking after Tuesday's parliamentary deliberations, Malondela maintained that the figures he presented were supported by documents he had submitted to Parliament, saying his duty is to hold leaders accountable and speak the truth. Constance Kantemeni has filed this report.
Malondela said his remarks were made in his capacity as Member of Parliament for Lilongwe Nyanja and not as chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, arguing that his position should not stop him from speaking on issues affecting Malawians. He further said he submitted documents including transport quotations and proof of payment to support his claims, insisting that the information he shared both inside and outside Parliament was based on available facts.
I responded as a member of Lilongwe Nyanja Constituency Committee. When I was invited at Malembo, I was never invited as a chairperson of Public Accounts Committee. I was invited as a representative of the people of Lilongwe Nyanja Constituency and the Director of Youth for Malawi Congress Party. But I had to speak what is there with evidence, and this is the evidence I've given. So for me, either being a chair or not being a chair, it's neither here nor there.
Meanwhile, Deputy Leader of the House, Shadrack Namalomba, has maintained that Malondela failed to provide evidence to support his allegations that government lost 1.1 million kwacha on each person repatriated from South Africa. Namalomba said government had budgeted 24 billion kwacha to repatriate about 15,000 people, but so far has spent around 9 billion kwacha to transport about 42,000 people, arguing that the actual cost is about 214,000 per person and not the figures alleged by Malondela.
Nyanja, Honorable Malondela, did not bring any evidence. That wasn't evidence. There was no evidence at all. The question at hand, or the issue at hand, is that he alleged that the government has stolen 1,100,000 per person. Instead of using 500,000 per person to transport the people from South Africa who were under the xenophobia attacks, government has spent 1.6 million.
The debate comes as Parliament awaits a ruling after documents submitted by Malondela are reviewed, following a dispute of allegations surrounding the government's expenditure on the repatriation of Malawians from South Africa.
Economic expert Chris Mbugwa has said Malawi is showing signs of economic improvement, but it is too early to conclude that the country has fully recovered, citing continued challenges such as foreign exchange shortages, high commodity prices, and rising livelihood costs. Mbugwa made the remarks while reacting to Minister of Finance Joseph Munamvega's assertion that Malawi's economy is recovering, saying the positive changes in some economic indicators should be viewed as progress but do not yet represent a full economic recovery. Gift Kalonga has filed this report.
In his remarks, Munamvega said Malawi's economy is showing signs of recovery, citing improvements in key microeconomic indicators such as inflation, public debt, and the fiscal deficit. He said the government's measures to control expenditure and improve revenue collection are yielding positive results, with the Malawi Revenue Authority (MRA) exceeding its revenue target in the first quarter of the financial year. Munamvega also said the government is working to strengthen domestic resource mobilization to reduce reliance on donor support. He assured Malawians that development partners continue to support the country, while emphasizing the need for Malawi to build a strong economy that can operate within its own resources.
If you look at all these indicators, they are moving in the right direction. And also even the public debt itself, and even the deficit, that is the difference between revenues and expenditure. As we speak now, is coming down. We were at 12% of GDP as a deficit, but as we speak today, it is 99% of GDP. So,
on his part, economic expert Chris Mbugwa said the government should assess the success of austerity measures by looking at reduced borrowing, protection of development spending, and improved management of public resources. He said savings from cutting unnecessary expenses such as excessive allowances, fuel costs, and expensive vehicles should be redirected towards key development programs.
If we are able to borrow less than we have targeted in terms of how much we expect to borrow in this year, and if we find that probably we have borrowed 50% of what we targeted to borrow, that could be a very good evidence. Because
meanwhile, the expert has warned that corruption reports could undermine expenditure controls, saying more time is needed to assess the impact of revenue correction efforts. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
Social commentator Lakembewe says President Peter Mutharika was within his powers to delegate Second Vice President Enoch Chihana to chair a cabinet meeting, arguing that leadership requires a delegation of responsibilities. Mbewe's remarks followed media reports quoting First Vice President Jen Ansah, spokesperson Richard Mveliwa, as saying Ansah was not invited to a cabinet meeting held on Monday in Lilongwe, which was reportedly chaired by Second Vice President Enoch Chihana in the President's absence. Charity Chilanga has filed this report.
Says the President, the First Vice President and the Second Vice President work as one leadership structure and should support each other in serving the interests of Malawians. He has also urged the public to avoid creating unnecessary tension over the matter, saying leaders should be allowed to carry out responsibilities assigned to them.
The Vice President and the Second Vice President is a coordinated structure, in which case whatever happens, these people are engaged and they discuss what is it that is in the best interest of citizens. Therefore, I find it in order for the state president to delegate, because the leadership is about such kind of characteristics.
Questions over the working relationship between Mutharika and Ansah have intensified after some responsibilities previously assigned to the First Vice President, including oversight of the Department of Disaster Management Affairs and Public Sector Reforms, were removed from her office. Cabinet ministers have also increasingly represented the President at official functions where Ansah was present.
Government, through the Ministry of Health, has reaffirmed its commitment to eliminating viral hepatitis in Malawi by strengthening prevention, testing, treatment, and public awareness initiatives. Minister of Health Madaliso Aloi made the remarks during a press briefing held at Capitol Hill in Lilongwe as the country commemorates World Hepatitis Day. Emmanuel Chocha has filed this report.
Baloi described July 28 as an important day for Malawi and the global community, saying it serves as a reminder for the need to intensify efforts to end the viral hepatitis as a public health threat. She emphasized the importance of collaboration among the government, development partners, communities, the media, and individuals in breaking down barriers that continue to hinder progress. This includes limited public awareness, stigma, and discrimination, and inadequate access to testing and treatment services.
Hepatitis is very dangerous, especially at the times people get to know about the disease very late, which makes it difficult for them to be treated.
World Health Organization WHO representative to Malawi, Dr. Charles Kuria Njunguna, said one of the 8 people is living with a viral hepatitis, but many remain unaware of their status. He stressed the need to scale up the public awareness campaigns and encourage pregnant women to undergo hepatitis screening during antenatal care.
WHO, we support the government in ensuring that we have a strong immunization program in terms of ensuring that we have the laboratory infrastructure that is able to help us in terms of detecting or diagnosing
Commenting on the matter, health expert George Jobe says this is an important day for Malawi as it provides opportunities for the country to reflect on this disease, since hepatitis is one of the diseases that has challenged Malawi, and has urged government to ensure that it provides necessary equipment and medication to combat hepatitis.
And even killing many people, because the hepatitis is one of our major health challenges in Malawi. Of course, we know also globally the situation is the same. It has been causing problems with the liver of people, and also leading to liver cancer.
Die each year from chronic hepatitis B and C worldwide. However, these deaths can largely be prevented through vaccination, early diagnosis, and timely treatment. Break it down. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Chiwocha.
Remember, you're watching Luntha News, coming to you live from Bishop Neve Media Center in Area 2, Lilongwe, with me, Fales Chizombe. Moving forward, government has disclosed that it is exploring ways of expanding corporate social responsibility requirements to cover more mining companies, within the aim of ensuring community benefit more from mining activities. Speaking after proceedings in Parliament, Minister of Mining Tokotembo said mining companies have a responsibility to support the communities where they operate, even where community development agreements are not mandatory. Judy Fogan has filed a report read in our studios by Wongan Chirwa.
Tembo said the ministry is considering extending CSR obligations to medium-scale mining license holders to increase community development initiatives and strengthen relationships between mining companies and host communities.
We're looking at the possibility of ensuring that medium-scale mining licenses also fall under the CSR. That way, we have a lot more companies who will be active in the communities and also giving that benefit to the communities.
However, mining expert Paul Mvula says while CSR is important, government should prioritize legally binding community development agreements, arguing that they provide communities with a stronger voice in determining the type of development they need. Mvula says, unlike CSR, which is determined by companies, community development agreements ensure mining benefits are negotiated and aligned with the priorities of host communities.
It's just a corporate social responsibility. It's a business argument that they want to advance so that they are in good books with the community. And this is what we've been talking about all along. And that is why we are more of development agreement.
The remarks come amid growing calls for reforms in Malawi's mining sector to ensure communities hosting mining projects receive meaningful and sustainable development benefits beyond voluntary corporate initiatives. For Luntha Television, this is Wongani Chirwa.
The Technical, Entrepreneur and Vocational Education and Training Authority, TVETA, has encouraged persons with disabilities to enroll in technical colleges, saying the vocational skills can improve their livelihoods through economic empowerment. TVETA Southern Region Manager Dr. Conspira Bamus made the remarks on Monday during the opening of a 5-day induction training for trainers from technical colleges across Southern Region at Andiamo Technical College in Balaka. Andrew Nandolo has filed this report.
The induction training aims to strengthen trainers' understanding of disability inclusion and equip them with the knowledge and skills required to effectively support learners with different disabilities under the competency-based education and training. A partnership between the TVETA and the Ministry of Gender, Children, Disability and Social Affairs will help ensure inclusive skills development in vocational institutions.
This training is coming from a background where all of us as a nation, we are looking towards the achievement of Agenda 2063. When we look at the Agenda 2063, it's not about a specific person who is supposed to do something for that agenda to be achieved.
Gender, Children, Disability and Social Affairs Maiso Malembo has called on an end to negative perceptions towards persons with disability, saying they are equally capable of acquiring vocational skills and urging government and its development partners to expand access to technical and vocational education.
Our role now is that we hold hands together as state players, but also organizations of persons with disabilities who are voices of those people with disabilities too.
One of the participants, Paul Gokwe from Sochi Technical College, said the training will enhance trainers' capacity to effectively support students with different forms of disability in technical college.
In the past, to learn skills, But then the challenge was we did not have the technical know-how on how we can train them.
A total of 52 trainers from technical colleges across the southern region are attending the induction program, which is expected to conclude on Friday, 31st July 2026. Reporting from Baraka, this is Andrew Nandolo.
The Malawi Economic Justice Network Emerging has commended the Lord's Fund Administration for registering a 56% increase in toll collections, saying the additional revenue should translate into improved road infrastructure across the country. The remarks come after the Lord's Fund Administration announced that it collected 1.77 billion kwacha toll fees between April and June this year, up from 1.13 billion kwacha collected during the same period last year. Jacqueline Saidi has filed this report.
During a recent joint press briefing organized by the Roads Fund Administration and the Roads Authority, Finance Manager for Roads Fund Administration James Zonzi attributed the increase in toll collections to the adjustment of toll fees introduced earlier this year. He assured the public that all revenue generated through toll gates, together with proceeds from the fuel levy now being received from government, will be channeled towards the reconstruction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of roads. Some rehabilitation works, he said, have already commenced along the M1 road.
The Roads Fund Administration, in terms of tolling, we have collected 1.177 billion against 1.13 billion from April to June.
Acting Chief Maintenance Manager for the Roads Authority, Engineer Derek Manda, said rehabilitation and resealing works are already underway on several road sections, including around Lilongwe M1, from Olizulu to Ncheuboma, and along the Chingeni to Kameza roundabout street. The projects will restore the roads to a better condition.
We are doing a number of projects from Bunda Turnoff up to Kameza roundabout in Luntha, mainly because the RFA now has availed some funding for us to do maintenance. So we have three major contractors. The first one is a joint venture between Master Construction and China Civil Engineering Corporation.
Reacting to the development, Malawi Economic Justice Network Executive Director Betha Lipipa Piri described the increase in toll revenue as a positive development to the country's infrastructure, saying Malawians now expect to see more road rehabilitation and maintenance projects. She has, however, called for more investment and transparency towards this infrastructure, noting that this will contribute significantly to the country's economic growth while improving transport for road users.
So the increase really, it means we have more money for roads. The toll that users pay, they are actually finding its way into the revenue collection.
Meanwhile, the Roads Fund Administration has disclosed that plans to construct additional toll gates are progressing well, noting that the new toll gates will help generate more revenue to support the reconstruction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of roads across Malawi. For Luntha Television, this is Jacqueline Saidi.
The Malawi University of Science and Technology MUST has secured 85 million kwacha in funding from NCADCA to support an innovation that transforms human urine into organic fertilizer. Speaking when he received the money, MUST lecturer Jablani Nyangire said Malawi needs more innovative solutions to address challenges in agriculture sector. Robert Kalindiza has fired this report.
Jablani Nyengere from Malawi University of Science and Technology, MAST, says the funding will help the institution advance its innovation of converting human urine into organic fertilizer.
Doing is coming up with the organic fertilizers that are being made from urine, whereby we are trying to find a solution to the problem farmers are facing. Farmers are saying we can use the human urine to improve productivity. But you know the odor, the smell, people are not so happy with it. It's not pleasing. What happened is we thought and looked at it to say, what can we do? So what we have done, what we're doing, is to turn around to remove the smell. So we have made granules out of the urine to make sure that farmers can use.
Meanwhile, Minister of Labour, George Gona, has challenged the private sector to support local innovators, saying young people's innovations and the locally developed solutions are crucial to the realization of Malawi 2063 blueprint, while government continues to provide policy guidance to organizations such as NCADCR that promote creativity and innovation.
Yes, to develop this country, I think we need a lot of skills, a lot of innovators, people that can create something very perfect in a point of that we can develop these skills and then sell it to other countries that can help us to bring forex in this country, because as a country we are just importing everything. It's a high time now that we have to export these skills outside this country.
NCADCA Country Director Stephen Yasin said this year's Innovation Fund stands at 136 million kwacha, an increase from 80 million kwacha last year. Yasin said the organization continues to support outstanding innovators working in areas such as climate and environmental stewardship, food security, economic development, prevention of gender-based violence, and reducing inequalities in society.
Started last year in 2025 with the Innovation Fund, but we see that the key for development in Malawi is innovation and giving entrepreneurs technical assistance and the financial means that they need to do the next steps for the development of the country.
This is the second Innovation Fund initiative by NCADCA. Last year's winner received 64 million kwacha to support their project. Robert Karindiza, Luntha News.
And in other news, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on African countries to work together to address migration challenges by tackling the root causes of displacement, including conflict, instability, poverty, and social discord. Speaking to the Pan-African Parliament on Monday, Ramaphosa said no country should face the challenges of cross-border migration alone, warning that unmanaged migration could threaten security and social stability across the continent. We have an Africa News report read by Patrick Popper.
Remarks came after weeks of anti-immigration protests in South Africa, where some groups have blamed undocumented migrants for unemployment, crime, and pressure on public services. Ramaphosa also acknowledged growing criticism from other African countries following attacks on foreign nationals in South Africa. Last week, a Nigerian man died while in police custody in Cape Town, prompting Nigeria to accuse South African authorities of using excessive force. At least 4 migrants have been killed in recent violence, although some governments believe the number is high. Ramaphosa described the attacks as sad and expressing regret over the loss of life and reaffirming South Africa's opposition to xenophobia and hatred against foreign nationals. Over the past 2 months, tens of thousands of African migrants have left South Africa, with countries including Ghana, Nigeria, and Malawi assisting in the repatriation of their citizens.
That's about what we had time for in this edition of the news. Before we go, another look at the headlines. For April the 14th, it concludes period of rest in Castle Garof. Lilongwe legislator refuses to retract South Africa repatriation cost allegations, maintaining his poke on evidence. Economic expert warns against premature economic optimism, notes of persistent challenges. And in other news, South Africa's president calls for African nationals to work together on migration. I've been Fales Chizombe. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in for the rest of our programs here on Luntha Television. Stay safe and goodbye.